Numbers have always made sense to me in ways that people never could. 2 plus 2 always equals 4. Pi extends infinitely but follows a pattern. The Fibonacci sequence appears in sunflowers and galaxies and seashells, a universal constant that connects everything in nature. Numbers don't lie. They don't change their meaning based on tone of voice or facial expression. They don't expect you to understand things they haven't explicitly stated. People, on the other hand, are chaos. My name is Oliver Bennett. I'm 26 years old, and I'm a data analyst for a biotech company in Boston. I work with algorithms, statistical models, predictive patterns. I'm very good at what I do. My supervisors say I see things in data sets that no one else can see, connections and anomalies that lead to breakthrough insight. What they don't know, what I've never told anyone at work, is that I'm autistic. Level 1, formerly called Asperger's, though the DSM-5 changed the terminology. Diagnosed at 7 years old after 3 years of my parents knowing something was different but not understanding what. I was the kid who lined up toy cars by color and size instead of playing with them, who memorized train schedules for fun, who had a meltdown in 2nd grade when the teacher rearranged the classroom furniture without warning because suddenly my mental map was wrong and everything felt dangerous. I learned to mask early. By middle school, I had studied enough social interaction to pass as quirky but normal in most situations. I learned to make eye contact for exactly 3 seconds before looking away. I learned small talk scripts for common situations. I learned to laugh at jokes even when I didn't understand why they were funny, just because everyone else was laughing. But it's exhausting. Every social interaction is a performance, every conversation a calculation. By the end of most days, I'm so drained from pretending to be neurotypical that I can barely function. Work is easier because the expectations are clear. Analyze data, present findings, attend weekly team meetings, respond to emails within 24 hours. I have spreadsheets for everything, routines that keep me functional. Monday through Friday, I wake at 6 a.m., eat the same breakfast, take the same route to the office, sit at the same desk. Patterns, structure, predictability. That's how I survive in a world that isn't built for brains like mine. The coffee shop is part of my routine. Every morning at 7:15, I stop at Greystone Cafe, 3 blocks from my apartment. I order the same thing. Large black coffee, 1 blueberry muffin, heated for exactly 30 seconds. The barista, Marcus, knows my order by heart now. I appreciate that he doesn't try to make conversation beyond the usual, and my nod in response. The shop opens at 6:30 a.m. I arrive at 7:15 after the initial rush but before it gets crowded again. I sit at the same table, corner window seat, facing the door so I can see people coming in, back to the wall so no one can approach from behind. I eat my muffin in exactly 8 bites, drink my coffee while reviewing my schedule for the day. It's a Tuesday in October when the pattern breaks. I arrive at 7:15, exactly on time. But someone is sitting in my seat. For a moment, I stand frozen in the doorway, unsure what to do. My brain is screaming that something is wrong, that the pattern is disrupted, that I need to fix this. But I can't just ask someone to move. That would be rude. Neurotypical people don't care about specific seats the way I do. The person in my seat is a woman, maybe my age, with long dark hair pulled back in a messy bun. She's wearing paint-stained overalls and has a sketchbook open in front of her, charcoal pencil moving rapidly across the page. She's completely absorbed in whatever she's drawing, hasn't even noticed me standing there. I should just sit somewhere else. Any reasonable person would sit somewhere else. But my brain won't cooperate. That's my seat. That's where I sit. That's part of the pattern. I'm still standing there, frozen in indecision, when Marcus calls from behind the counter. Oliver. The usual? The woman looks up at the sound of my name. Her eyes are striking, light brown, almost gold in the morning sun streaming through the window. She looks at me for exactly 2 seconds, Then her gaze drops to where I'm standing, then to the empty tables around the shop, then back to me. "Oh God," she says. "This is your spot, isn't it?" I don't know how she knows, but the relief that someone understands is overwhelming. "Yes. I sit here every morning at 7:15. "I'm so sorry." She's already closing her sketchbook and gathering her things. "I got here super early today because I couldn't sleep and I wasn't thinking. Here, it's all yours." "You don't have to move," I say, even though I desperately want her to move. "I can sit somewhere else." "Can you though?" She asks it gently, not mockingly. "Or will it feel wrong all day if you do?" The understanding in her question nearly makes me cry. "It will feel wrong," I admit quietly. "Then I'm definitely moving." She slides out of the booth and gestures to the seat. "All yours. I hope your day gets back on pattern from here." She takes her sketchbook to a table in the back corner, and I sink into my usual seat with overwhelming relief. Marcus brings my coffee and muffin, heated for exactly 30 seconds, bless him, and I try to recalibrate. But I keep glancing at the woman in the back corner. She's drawing again, completely focused, and I'm curious what made her understand so immediately about the seat. Most neurotypical people would have been offended or confused by my reaction. She just got it. The next morning, I arrive at 7:15. My seat is empty. The woman is in the back corner again, sketchbook open. She glances up when I enter, catches my eye, and gives a small smile before returning to her drawing. I sit in my seat and try to focus on my schedule review, but I'm distracted. Who is she? What is she drawing? Why did she understand about the seat? This continues for a week. Every morning, she's there in the back corner, drawing. Every morning, she looks up when I enter, smiles briefly, returns to her work. My seat is always empty. On day 8, I do something I never do. I break my own pattern. After getting my coffee and muffin, I walk to the back corner. "Can I ask what you're drawing?" She looks up, surprised but not unwelcoming. "Sure. I'm working on a series of architectural studies. Building facades, mostly. The geometric patterns in old brick work." She turns the sketchbook so I can see. It's beautiful. She's captured the repeating pattern of a building I recognize, one on Newbury Street, maybe 3 blocks away. But she's done something interesting with the perspective, emphasizing the mathematical rhythm of the windows and brickwork. "You've highlighted the golden ratio," I observe, pointing to the way she's divided the composition. Her eyes light up. "Yes. Most people don't notice that. The building was designed with those proportions, and I wanted to emphasize them." "Do you know architecture?" "I know patterns," I say. "And mathematical relationship. That's kind of my thing." "Mine too," she says. "I'm Luna, by the way. Luna Reyes. Oliver Bennett." "I know. Marcus yells your name every morning." She grins, and I find myself smiling back. "Do you want to sit?" I should say no. I should stick to my routine. But something about her makes me curious in a way I rarely am about people. "Okay," I say and sit down. "So," Luna says, closing her sketchbook. "You like patterns. What kind?" And just like that, we're talking. Really talking. I tell her about my work with data analysis, about how I see patterns in numbers the way some people see images in cloud. She tells me about her art, how she's fascinated by geometric patterns in nature and architecture, how she's working toward a gallery show featuring her architectural studies. "I have a confession," she says after 20 minutes. "I knew this was your spot the first day. I watched you come in the day before and noticed how you had a specific routine. I came early that Tuesday to sketch the morning light, and I took your seat without thinking. When I saw your face when you came in, you looked so lost. I knew immediately." "How did you know?" I ask. She hesitates then. "Because I'm autistic. And I would have felt exactly the same way if someone took my spot." The world seems to pause. "You're autistic," I repeat. "Level 1. Diagnosed at 23, after years of thinking I was just weird and anxious and bad at people. She watches my face carefully. You too. I nod slowly. Diagnosed at 7. That's why you understood about the golden ratio in my drawing, she says. Special interest? Mathematics and patterns. Yours is architecture and geometric design. Among other things. Also subway maps, color theory, and the history of urban planning. She grins. I can tell you way too much about the development of the Boston street grid, if you give me half a chance. I would actually love to hear about that, I say honestly. Her smile is brilliant. Really? Really? I love urban planning patterns. I have a spreadsheet analyzing the efficiency of different city grid systems. Of course you do, she says, but there's no judgment in it. Just understanding. Want to see my collection of historical Boston maps? Yes, I say immediately. We spend the next hour talking about Boston's geography, the way the city evolved from cow paths into a semi-planned urban center, the remnants of different eras visible in the street layout. We talk about the T system, about patterns in architecture across different neighborhoods, about the mathematics of urban design. I miss my normal coffee shop exit time by 45 minutes. I don't even care. When I finally look at my phone and realize I need to leave for work, I feel something unfamiliar. Disappointment. I don't want this conversation to end. I should go, I say reluctantly. Work starts at 9 o'clock. Same time tomorrow? Luna asks. I'm always here at 7:15, I confirm. Then I'll see you at 7:15. She pauses. Unless you'd rather have your morning routine back without me interrupting? No, I say quickly. I mean, you're not interrupting. This was nice. Nice, she echoes, and her smile is soft. Yeah. It really was. The next morning, I arrive at 7:15. Luna is at the back corner table. But this time, there's a second coffee cup waiting, and she's gesturing to the empty chair. I got you your usual, she says. Black coffee, 1 blueberry muffin. I asked Marcus to heat it for exactly 30 seconds. Something in my chest warms. You didn't have to do that. I know. But I wanted to. Fair warning though, I timed getting here so I could grab this table at exactly 7:10 because I realized you might be more comfortable here than at your window seat if we're going to talk, but I didn't want to assume, so if you'd rather. Luna, I interrupt gently. This is perfect. Thank you. She beams. We fall into a new pattern. Every morning at 7:15, Luna is at the back corner table with coffee waiting. We talk about patterns. Mathematical, architectural, behavioral. We share our special interests. She shows me her drawings. I show her my data visualizations. 3 weeks in, she says, can I ask you something personal? Okay. Do you mask a lot? At work. I nod. All day. Every day. By the time I get home, I'm so exhausted I can barely move. Me too, she says quietly. I work at an architecture firm, and I spend so much energy pretending to be normal in meetings that I have nothing left for actually designing. I do most of my real work late at night when everyone else is gone and I can just be myself. Do you ever wish you could just stop? I ask. Just exist without performing? Every day, she says. That's why I come here so early. It's the one time of day when I can just be. No expectations, no scripts, no masking. Me too, I say. And then, because she feels safe, you're the first person I've talked to about being autistic since my diagnosis. I don't tell people. It's easier to just let them think I'm weird. I get that, she says. But you know you're not weird, right? You're just autistic. There's a difference. Feels the same most of the time. Yeah, she agrees. It does. But it shouldn't. We shouldn't have to hide who we are just to make neurotypical people comfortable. But we do. But we do, she echoes sadly. We sit in comfortable silence for a while, and I realize this is the first time silence hasn't felt awkward with another person. Usually silence means I'm supposed to say something, fill the space, perform conversation. With Luna, silence just is. Oliver, she says finally, would you want to do something? Outside of coffee shop mornings? Like, I don't know, visit the MIT campus and look at the architecture? Or walk the Freedom Trail and talk about urban planning patterns? Or literally anything that doesn't involve masking or small talk or pretending to be someone we're not. My heart rate picks up. Like a date. If you want it to be a date, then yes, she says. If you want it to be two autistic people hanging out and info-dumping about special interests, that's also good. No pressure. I want it to be a date, I say, surprising myself with my honesty. Her smile is radiant. Saturday? 10 a.m.? We can start at MIT, get lunch somewhere quiet, see where the day takes us? That sounds perfect. Saturday morning, I'm awake at 6 a.m., too anxious to sleep. I've changed clothes 4 times, trying to figure out what to wear on a date with another autistic person. Do normal date rules apply? Should I try to seem more neurotypical? Less? Finally, I text Luna, what's the dress code for autistic dates? Her response comes immediately. Comfortable clothes you won't have to think about. I'm wearing jeans and my favorite sweater that doesn't have scratchy tags. Sensory nightmare outfits are banned. I laugh and put on my softest t-shirt and jeans that don't have a weird seam. We meet at the Kendall Square T-stop. Luna is wearing a deep green sweater and black jeans, her hair down today instead of up. She looks beautiful. Hi, she says, and I notice she doesn't make eye contact, which makes me feel less self-conscious about not making eye contact. Hi. So, full disclosure, she says as we start walking. I'm terrible at dates. I don't know the rules. I don't know what I'm supposed to talk about or not talk about. I'm probably going to info dump about architecture, and I might need breaks if it gets too peoply. Is that okay? That's more than okay, I say. I'm also terrible at dates. I was worried I was supposed to do the whole neurotypical thing where you make small talk and pretend to be mysterious. God no, she says. Please just be yourself. That's the only version of you I'm interested in. We spend the morning walking around MIT campus. Luna knows an absurd amount about the architecture of every building. I know patterns in the campus layout that she hasn't noticed. We complement each other's knowledge, building a fuller picture together. At one point, she grabs my hand to point something out, then freezes. Sorry, I should have asked. Is touch okay? From you, yes, I say, and lace my fingers through hers. We have lunch at a quiet sandwich shop Luna knows, tucked away from the main street. It's not crowded, the music is low, the lighting is soft. She planned this, I realize. She chose a place that would be sensory-friendly for both of us. This is the best date I've ever been on, I tell her. It's my first real date, she admits. I've tried before, but always with neurotypical guys who got frustrated that I was difficult or too intense, or didn't understand why I needed things a certain way. You're not difficult, I say firmly. You just have different needs. So do you, she points out. But it doesn't feel difficult with you. It feels like we're both just being ourselves and it works. After lunch, we walk the Freedom Trail. Luna talks about colonial architecture and the evolution of building styles. I talk about the mathematical patterns in city planning. We take several breaks when either of us gets overwhelmed by crowds. Neither of us apologizes for needing break. We just take them. By the time we finish, it's late afternoon. We're both exhausted. Socializing is hard even when you're with someone who understands, but it's a good exhaustion. Can I see you again? I ask. Not just at coffee shop mornings, but like this? Yes, she says immediately. Absolutely yes. We start dating officially after that. But dating while autistic looks different than neurotypical dating. We don't go to loud restaurants or crowded bars. We find quiet museums during off-peak hours. We take long walks in parks where we can talk without fighting ambient noise. We spend evenings at each other's apartments, working on our own projects in parallel, her drawing, me analyzing data, comfortable in shared silence. I learn her patterns. She needs exactly 20 minutes to decompress when she gets home from work before she can engage socially. She gets overstimulated by fluorescent lights and will get a headache if exposed too long. She needs at least 3 days warning before social plans or she'll be anxious the whole time. She stims by running her fingers over textured fabrics. I buy her a collection of fabric samples and she nearly cries with happiness. She learns mine. I need my morning routine to stay exactly the same or my whole day feels off. I can't handle unexpected phone calls. Everything needs to be scheduled or texted first. I have safe foods that I eat over and over, and trying new foods is genuinely stressful. I need firm pressure during physical affection. Light touches feel overwhelming. She gets me a weighted blanket for my apartment and it becomes my favorite possession. I love that we can just tell each other what we need, she says one evening. We're on her couch, me under my weighted blanket, her sketching. No guessing, no hints, no assuming the other person should just know. It's efficient, I agree. It's more than efficient, she says. It's honest. It's clear. It's the opposite of all the confusing neurotypical relationship advice about playing hard to get or not seeming too eager. I hate that advice, I admit. Why would you play games with someone you care about? Because neurotypical people are chaos, she says, and we both laugh. 3 months into dating, Luna has a meltdown. I've never seen her have one before. She's always managed to either prevent them or hide them from me. But this time, I'm at her apartment when she gets home from work, and she walks in already in crisis. She doesn't say hello, just drops her bag and slides down the wall, hands over her ears, rocking slightly. I recognize the signs immediately: overstimulation, sensory overload, system shutdown. I don't try to touch her or talk to her. Instead, I go to her bedroom and get her weighted blanket. I turn off all the lights except one dim lamp. I close the curtains. I find her noise-canceling headphones and place them next to her, within reach. Then I sit across the room and wait. It takes 15 minutes before she reaches for the headphones, 20 before she pulls the weighted blanket over herself, 30 before her breathing evens out. Bad day? I ask quietly. She nods, not removing the headphones yet. I wait. Finally, she takes them off. Client meeting. Loud, bright conference room. Fluorescent lights buzzing. 3 hours of people talking over each other while I tried to present designs. Then they changed all the project parameters at the end, meaning everything I did for the past month is useless. Her voice is flat, exhausted. I held it together until I got home. I'm glad you didn't have to hold it together here, I say. She looks at me, surprised. You're not upset? Why would I be upset? Because I just had a meltdown in front of you? Because I'm a mess? Because I can't handle basic work meetings like a normal adult? Luna. I move closer, still not touching. You're not a mess. You're autistic. Meltdowns happen. And that wasn't a basic work meeting. That was 3 hours of sensory torture followed by professional whiplash. Any autistic person would be overwhelmed. You don't think I'm broken? I think you're exhausted and overstimulated and perfectly reasonable in your reaction. I pause. Do you want me to stay or give you space? Stay, she says. Please stay. Just, maybe not talking for a while. I can do that. We sit in quiet semi-darkness for an hour. I do some work on my laptop. She lies under the weighted blanket and stares at the ceiling. Eventually, she falls asleep. I stay because that's what you do for people you love. Wait, love. I'm in love with Luna Reyes. The realization hits me while I'm sitting on her floor, watching her sleep off a meltdown, and it feels as clear and certain as a mathematical proof. Of course I love her. She's brilliant and creative and understands me in ways no one else ever has. She's the first person who's never made me feel like my autism is something to overcome or hide. With her, I can just be Oliver, Stimmying, pattern-obsessed, routine-dependent Oliver, and that's enough. More than enough. It's exactly right. She wakes up an hour later, groggy and disoriented. How long was I asleep? About an hour. You stayed. Of course I stayed. She sits up slowly, weighted blanket still around her shoulders. Oliver, I need to tell you something. My heart rate picks up. Okay. This is going to keep happening. Not all the time, but sometimes. I'm going to have meltdowns or shutdowns. I'm going to have days where I can't handle social interaction at all. I'm going to cancel plans last minute because I'm too overwhelmed. I'm going to be difficult and high maintenance and exhausting. You're not difficult, I interrupt. And you're definitely not high maintenance. You're autistic. There's a difference. But neurotypical people. I'm not neurotypical people, I say. I'm autistic too, remember? I understand meltdowns. I have routines that can't be disrupted. I have days where I can't leave my apartment because everything is too much. We're both high support needs some days and low support needs other days, and that's okay. That's just how we are. You really don't mind? Luna. I take her hand. I love you. All of you. Including the parts that have meltdowns and need weighted blankets and can't handle fluorescent light. Actually, especially those parts, because those are the parts you've always had to hide from other people. But you don't have to hide them from me. Her eyes fill with tears. You love me. I love you, I confirm. Is that okay? She laughs, a watery sound. It's more than okay. I love you too. I have for weeks, but I was scared to say it because what if you didn't feel the same way and then things got awkward and I ruined the one relationship where I can actually be myself. I kiss her. It's the first time I've initiated a kiss, and it's soft and careful and perfect. You didn't ruin anything, I say. You couldn't ruin this. We're good together. We really are, she agrees. 6 months later, we're at the coffee shop. Same back corner table, 7:15 a.m., same routine. Except now we share the routine. Marcus brings our usual orders without being asked. You two are my favorite regulars, he says. Most consistent couple I've ever seen. After he leaves, Luna grins at me. We're known for our consistency. Very on-brand for autistic people. We're nothing if not predictable, I agree. Speaking of predictable, she says, pulling out her sketchbook. I finished the piece I've been working on. Want to see? She turns the sketchbook around, and I see it's a drawing of this exact scene. The coffee shop, the back corner table, 2 people sitting across from each other. But she's done something interesting with the composition. Emphasized the geometric patterns in the tile floor, the windows, the table arrangement. And in the center, 2 figures, clearly us, surrounded by mathematical symbols and architectural blueprints that seem to flow between them. It's called pattern recognition, she says. It's about finding the one person whose patterns match yours. The one person who makes sense in a world that usually doesn't. I study the drawing, seeing all the layers she's built into it. The golden ratio in the composition. The Fibonacci spiral hidden in the background. The way our 2 figures mirror each other's posture without being identical. It's beautiful, I say. You're showing that we're similar but not the same. Exactly. We're both autistic, but our autism looks different. Different support needs, different sensory profiles, different special interests. But somehow our patterns complement each other. She pauses. Like data and design. Numbers and art. You see patterns in statistics, I see them in space and form. Together we see more than we could alone. That's very poetic for 7:30 in the morning, I tease. I've been working on this piece for weeks. I've had time to workshop the metaphors. She grins. Do you like it? I love it, I say honestly. Almost as much as I love you. Almost? She asks, mock offended. The art is beautiful, but it's not stimmying while telling me about the development of the Boston subway system. She laughs. You really do love me. I really do. A year into our relationship, we move in together. It requires extensive planning, combining 2 sets of rigid routines, 2 sets of sensory needs, 2 sets of special interests that require dedicated space. We find an apartment with 2 bedrooms. One becomes our shared bedroom. The other becomes what we call the studio, half set up for her art, half for my data work. It's our parallel play space, where we can both pursue our interests in the same room without having to actively interact. We create a massive shared Google Calendar with everything color-coded. Blue for Oliver's work commitments, green for Luna's, purple for shared activities, red for absolutely no plans, recovery day needed. We both have standing permission to add red days whenever we need them, no explanation required. We establish quiet hours, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. every evening, where we're both home but don't have to talk or interact. We can just exist in the same space, decompressing from the day. We make a list of safe restaurants, organized by noise level, lighting, and menu predictability. We make a list of sensory-friendly date activities. We make a list of shutdown/meltdown protocols for each of us. We have so many lists and systems and routines that our neurotypical friends joke that we're the most organized couple they know. If only they knew it's not organization, it's survival, Luna says one evening during quiet hour. We're both on the couch, her sketching, me working on a data visualization. Does it matter? I ask. As long as it works for us? I guess not, she agrees. Though sometimes I wonder what it would be like to be one of those spontaneous couples who just decides to take a road trip on a whim. Sounds terrible, I say honestly. No planning? No schedule? No idea where you're sleeping that night? That's a nightmare scenario. She laughs. Okay, you're right. I don't actually want that. I want this. Predictable, scheduled, color-coded this. Me too. 2 years in, Luna gets offered a huge opportunity, a gallery show in New York City. It's everything she's been working toward. But it means traveling to New York multiple times for planning meetings, and being there for the opening, and dealing with crowds and small talk, and all the sensory nightmare aspects of the art world. I don't know if I can do it, she says. We're in the studio, her pacing, me watching. I want this so badly. But the thought of all those people, all that noise, all that social performance, I'm exhausted just thinking about it. What if you didn't have to do it alone? I ask. She stops pacing. What do you mean? I mean, what if I came with you? To the meetings, to the opening, all of it. I could be your support person. Run interference when you need breaks, handle small talk when you're overwhelmed, give you an excuse to step away when it's too much. Oliver, you hate that stuff as much as I do. I do, I agree. But I love you more. And this is important to you. So I'll handle it. You'd really do that for me? Of course I would. That's what partners do. She crosses the room and wraps her arms around me. I love you so much. I love you too. Plus, New York has excellent architectural patterns. We can make a whole trip of it, gallery show, plus visiting buildings you want to sketch, plus I can analyze the subway system efficiency. You want to analyze the New York subway system? I've been wanting to compare it to Boston's for years, I admit. This is the perfect excuse. She laughs, and I feel the tension leave her body. Okay, let's do it. Together. The New York trip is exactly as overwhelming as we expected. The gallery opening is loud and bright and full of people who want to talk to Luna about her work. But we have a system. Every 30 minutes, I catch her eye and we do a quick check-in. If she's overwhelmed, we step outside for 5 minutes. If she's okay, we keep going. I field questions from people who want to buy pieces, giving her space to just exist without having to perform constant social interaction. When someone asks her to explain her artistic process, I watch her start to spiral into an overwhelming explanation, and I gently redirect. Luna's process is fascinating, but she explains it better in the artist's statement printed in the program. Have you had a chance to read that? She shoots me a grateful look. By the end of the night, She's exhausted but glowing. That was amazing. Terrible and overwhelming and sensory hell, but amazing. You sold 8 pieces, I tell her. 8. Her eyes go wide. Really? Really? You're officially a successful gallery artist. She pulls me into a kiss right there on the New York street, and I don't even care that people are walking past us. Thank you, she says, for being here, for making this possible. I couldn't have done this without you. Yes, you could have, I say. But I'm glad you didn't have to. 3 years into our relationship, we're at the coffee shop. Same back corner table, 7:15 a.m. But today I'm nervous. You're bouncing your leg more than usual, Luna observes. What's up? I take a breath. I've been thinking about patterns. Your favorite topic. Specifically, relationship patterns. Relationship milestones. The expected progression of neurotypical relationships versus the progression of ours. She sets down her coffee cup, giving me her full attention. Okay. Neurotypical relationships seem to follow a specific pattern. Dating, moving in together, engagement, marriage. There's an expected timeline, expected gestures, expected everything. We've never been very good at expected, she says carefully. No, we haven't. We've built our own pattern, our own timeline, our own way of being together that works for us. I pull a small box from my pocket. But there's one traditional thing I'd like to do, if you're interested. Luna's eyes go wide. I love you, I say. I love our routines and our systems and our color-coded calendar. I love that we can sit in silence for an hour and it's not awkward. I love that you understand when I need my morning coffee routine to be exactly the same. I love that I understand when you need to stim with fabric samples. I love that we're both autistic, and we don't have to hide it from each other. I open the box, revealing a simple silver ring with a small pattern engraved on the band, the Fibonacci spiral. This isn't a surprise, I continue. Because surprises are hard for both of us. We've talked about marriage before. We've discussed whether we want it, what it would mean for us, how it would work with our need. This is just me making it official. Luna Reyes, will you marry me? She's crying, but she's also smiling. You put the Fibonacci spiral on the ring. It's your favorite pattern. It's our pattern, she corrects. The universal constant. The thing that connects everything. She holds out her hand. Yes. Absolutely yes. I slide the ring onto her finger, and it fits perfectly. I measured, of course, made a sizing ring from paper and tested it while she was asleep. I'm nothing if not thorough. I love you, she says. My pattern-obsessed, data-analyzing, routine-dependent, perfect partner. I love you, I reply. My architecture-focused, geometric pattern-seeing, fabric-stimming, perfect fiancé. We get married 6 months later. The wedding is small, immediate family and close friends only. It's at 10 a.m. on a Saturday in a quiet garden, with a short ceremony we wrote ourselves. My vows include: I promise to always make sure your coffee is ready at 7:15 a.m. I promise to give you space during quiet hour. I promise to learn all your sensory triggers and do my best to help you avoid them. I promise to love you on meltdown days and shutdown days and all the days in between. Her vows include: I promise to respect your morning routine. I promise to give you advance warning before schedule changes. I promise to never judge you for stimming or infodumping or any other autistic trait. I promise to be your safe person, the one you never have to mask for. There's not a dry eye in the garden, including ours. The reception is held at a quiet restaurant we vetted extensively. No fluorescent lights, no loud music, no crowded dance floor. Just good food and comfortable seating and the people we love most. We leave after 2 hours because we're both exhausted, and no one judges us for it. Our honeymoon is a week in a quiet cabin in Vermont, where we spend our days hiking easy trails, Luna sketching landscapes, me analyzing wildlife population patterns. We have no schedule, no obligations, no expectations beyond being together. This is perfect, Luna says one evening. We're on the cabin porch, watching the sun set over the mountains. It really is, I agree. I used to think I'd never find someone who understood, she says quietly. Someone who didn't see my autism as a flaw to be fixed or a quirk to be tolerated. Someone who just saw me. You're the first person I've ever felt truly comfortable with, I admit. The first person I didn't have to perform for. The first person who made me feel like being autistic wasn't something to overcome. We're good together, she says. We're excellent together, I correct. The data strongly supports this conclusion. She laughs. Did you actually analyze our relationship compatibility? I may have created a spreadsheet, I admit. Of course you did. She leans her head on my shoulder. What did the data say? That I found someone whose patterns complement mine perfectly. That we're statistically extremely compatible across all relevant metrics. That I'm the luckiest person alive. The data got it right, she says softly. 5 years after that first morning in the coffee shop, we're still there. Same back corner table, 7:15 a.m., same routine. Luna is sketching a new piece for her upcoming gallery show. I'm reviewing data for a presentation at work. Marcus brings our usual orders without being asked. You two have been coming here for years now, he observes. Never miss a morning. Routine is important, I say. Routine is life, Luna adds, and we both smile. After Marcus leaves, Luna looks up from her sketchbook. Do you ever get bored? Of the same routine, same coffee, same table? Never, I say honestly. This is my favorite part of every day. The 1 hour where everything is predictable and comfortable and exactly as it should be. Mine too, she says. Though I think it's less about the coffee and more about the company. The company is definitely the best part of the pattern, I agree. She goes back to sketching, and I go back to my data analysis, and we sit in comfortable parallel the way we've done for 5 years. I used to think patterns were just numbers and mathematics, predictable sequences that made sense in a chaotic world. I used to think people were the chaos, the unpredictable variable that could never be understood or categorized. But Luna taught me that people can be patterns too. Not in a way that reduces them to numbers, but in a way that celebrates the beautiful complexity of how they are. The way they think, the way they move through the world, the way they create their own systems and structures. Luna is the most beautiful pattern I've ever encountered. Complex, intricate, mathematically elegant in ways I'm still discovering. She's the Fibonacci spiral in human form, a universal constant that appears in unexpected places, connecting everything in beautiful, perfect proportion. And somehow, miraculously, her pattern fits with mine. We're both autistic. We both see the world in terms of systems and structures. We both need routine and predictability and advance warning before changes. We both struggle with social performance and sensory overload and the exhaustion of masking. But together, we've built a life where we don't have to mask. Where we can be our authentic selves. Stimmying and infodumping and following rigid routines. And that's not just accepted, it's celebrated. I loved patterns before I met Luna. But she taught me that the most meaningful pattern isn't in data sets or mathematical sequences. It's in finding another person whose pattern matches yours, who sees the world through a similar lens, who understands without explanation, who accepts without judgment, who loves without conditions. I'm autistic. Luna is autistic. We're both beautifully, perfectly, exactly as we should be. And together, we're the most elegant pattern I could ever hope to find. The end.